Welcome to Impact, the show where we talk about topical issues affecting young people. I'm Neela Amami, and in this episode we will discuss the resurgence of vinyl's popularity. The internet has revolutionized the way we listen to music, making it more affordable than ever to hear artists. But with the reintroduction of the UK vinyl charts and annual sales for 2014 exploding to 1.3 million in Britain, vinyl is coming back in a big way. So with the competition between old and new, we ask the question, why vinyl? On Record Store Day, we visited Relevant Records to find out more.
So Relevant Records, we opened in November 2014, and this is our second record store day today. Everybody buys vinyl now. It's not down to any specific age bracket. If you'd have been down here earlier, you'd have seen kids buying new vinyl for a record store day. It went so far the other way with downloads that people were buying downloads, and you don't actually physically have anything. And when you buy a record, that is yours, and it's there. It's physically in your hands. It's aesthetically better when you're actually, taking the time out to listen to it. So I think people, value for money. It's probably a lot better.
I think some music genres are better on vinyl if you're getting older music, so it was the way it was intended to be on vinyl.
It's the quality, you hear the crackle when you put the needle down, and it's just way better than listening to like an MP3 download or.
We're all going digital, so it's like a way to slow down and sort of really appreciate things.
Quite nice having a physical copy of music.
It's just you have a physical copy, it's much nicer. If you really care about the music and about the album, it's just much better.
With me is Mike Higgins. Mike, tell us a bit about yourself.
I've been DJing and collecting vinyl for 25, 30 odd years, mainly collecting vinyl, but DJing for about 20 years now.
Why would a DJ use vinyl? Well,
initially vinyl was obviously the only sort of medium with which you could sort of play out, but it's a very hands-on material. It's a direct access to being able to alter what is coming out of the speakers.
Do you just use vinyl?
I have used CDs and CDJs in the past, but for me, I would like to just use vinyl. Yeah, I mean, really, if you want to be current, then sticking to vinyl is not going to get you very far, especially nowadays when there are so many other ways that you can play music. You would be limiting yourself hugely to just stick to vinyl.
So no one specifically asks for vinyl?
It's very rare. It's very rare. Maybe if you're doing some sort of reunion party. I
know you brought some records with you in. Could you tell us about them?
This is one of my favourite pieces of vinyl. It's probably late 80s, and it's a picture disc. Quite a beautiful piece of vinyl. And just for me personally, it just means something to me. But I bought in my first ever dance record, which is from 1992, and features some things you've probably never heard of and never will. And I bought in just a general white label, which is one of the things that I always loved about vinyl, was the fact that you would go to a record shop, you'd buy some records and you'd take them home, and some of them you'd buy them because of the way they sounded, but they'd just be blank pieces of vinyl, nothing written on them. You don't know who they're by, where they came from. It just has a little bit of sort of soul and a mystery to it. And I bought a nice example of interesting, fun, colourful vinyl. This isn't actually purely vinyl because it's when they add the colours into it, it actually reduces the lifespan of the record. So this record can only be played a certain number of times before it becomes unlistenable too. And the other record I bought with me is just a really, really good example of why vinyl is so good as a DJ to use. This is a clear piece of vinyl with blank on one side and a track on the other, and you can clearly see the dark and the light bits as it goes through the track. that indicate when things change within the record, when a break happens, when things quieten down, when a new drum beat comes in. And as a DJ, with a light shining across the vinyl, you could pick up on these and read it almost like a book. You'd know how long you had before the next bit of the record would change, or when you'd need to drop another record in, or how long you had left, and all of those kind of things. And you, as a DJ, you become very good at reading that.
Mike, thank you very much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
In the studio with us today, we have Rob Tolson and Nathan Butler. Nathan, what is it about vinyl that attracts young people?
Well, I think nowadays, especially young people, are starting to respect the music a bit more, because although some of my friends tend to download the music, some other friends are starting to think of music more as a product than just something that's there. And I feel that vinyl gives them a bit more of a sense of taking them through how the music was made and listening to all the hard work that went into it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that actually the artwork, the vision of the artist is something that, now that we've got as much music as we need, music's everywhere, we can download it, we can stream it at the moment's notice. I think now people are getting to be more interested in the artists and what they think in the music that they make, and that's not just the music, that's their kind of whole creative vision.
So I like all the classic rock bands like AC/DC and Guns N' Roses and all them. And they all produced their music back in that time. And by collecting music from that time in the way that they were supposed to be produced at that time, I feel I can connect more with the origins of the music and what led up to the music nowadays.
I think there's also an element of the fact that, I mean, I grew up with vinyl, but this is kind of new to a certain generation who've grown up, and the way they've experienced music has always been digitally. And now, for the first time, there's really the sort of availability to experience music in a different way. So for them, it's absolutely brand new. It could have been invented yesterday.
How expensive is it to collect?
Well, for me, I've only really started recently, in fact only last month, and I've started out with fairly low-grade equipment, and 3 vinyls and a turntable's already cost me 140 quid. And to a lot of young people, that's a lot, but you can think of it as an investment in memories and stuff like that. And I suppose another way of looking at the price is you're also supporting the artist you're listening to, because, I mean, although there are the production costs involved, at the end of the day, an artist is going to receive a cut from that, and I think an artist is more likely to appreciate the sale of their product in a format that's special than just as something you stick on your iPod.
I've heard this term warmer sound. What does that actually mean?
Well, in terms of warmer sound, it means it sounds more natural, and it sounds less, in my opinion, compressed and reduced in quality, so that it will fit on the medium you're listening to. So
compressed means reduced in quality?
Yeah. There's 2 types of compression, which is confusing. But one type is data compression, which it basically is a way of reducing the quality of the audio in order to make it fit on a smaller disk space or to be streamed faster because it's less data. The other type of compression is actually in terms of the dynamic range, which is where we actually can squeeze a record so it sounds louder, which creates distortion. So in this instance, both types of compression actually do reduce the sound quality.
Quality. I see. But also with vinyl, you have the scratches and hiss. Is that a problem?
It's not to me. I mean, it's kind of sort of people from my generation. It's what we grew up with. It was the sound we're used to. Some of the great records from the 50s and 60s are covered with noise and hiss and crackle. That doesn't stop them being great songs and great productions and people being able to really enjoy them. I don't think it's detrimental at all. Classical music is slightly different, where there's a real purist kind of approach where what's played should kind of be captured. So classical tends to embrace digital more, but on the whole, it's part of the art form, in my opinion.
What do you predict for the future of the vinyl industry?
I mean, I think it's made this comeback, and actually it will stay around now, certainly in some form. I mean, it's amazing that it's actually been able to come back, I think, because when people stopped manufacturing vinyl, a lot of the machines that were making the master discs and the pressing factories, they all closed and a lot of people retired. And it was only because of kind of DJ culture that vinyl stayed around a bit. And now there's this resurgence. People are learning those skills again and how to build those pieces of equipment and actually building those factories that make vinyl again. So, you know, the investment is going into it, and I think it will stay. I mean, I'm very interested in the business models of music at the moment are changing almost every year, and it's only a few years ago that we were worrying about what streaming would do for sales at all, and now I hear that the assumption is that streaming is actually helping the sale of vinyl, because people now get to listen to whatever music they want to listen to, and they can almost try before they buy, and as you've said, to actually support the artist, once you know you want that piece of music, go and buy it. And if you're going to go and buy it in something that you can keep forever and actually really enjoy.
Rob, Nathan, thank you for joining us in the studio today. Vinyl is clearly making a resurgence. For many, owning vinyl connects them closer to the artist. The quality of sound, the artwork, and vinyl's tangible nature in a digital world offers the audience a richer experience and the chance to really express their love for the music that matters to them. These are just some of the reasons why vinyl is attracting a new generation of music lovers. I hope that you have enjoyed the program. This is Impact. I'm Neelia Mami. Thank you and goodbye.